Ha ha ha, stupid Gueva. You think that your stupid guns can match the might of the Tower Rifle? We will slay you far before you even get into range with your puny guns.
Long-range bolt shells, motherfucker!
With Salutations Rangers, General Bradley 101 back at you again with another video. This is a companion piece to the first video of Vanguard Veteran Space Marines, where here we talk about their shooty cousins, the Sternguard Veteran Space Marines. My preferred favorite, just because they got the drip. Look at that, that is some quality drip right there. But as always, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Join the Discord, join the Patreon, only if you can afford it. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and let's crack on. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, a Sternguard veteran is an elite veteran space marine that specializes in ranged combat, rather than melee combat in his Vanguard veteran counterpart. They are usually drawn from the tactical squads and raised all the way up, and ooh boy, howdy do these boys pack a punch. So, whereas the Vanguard veteran space marines are designed to jump from problem to problem, putting out fires, these guys are known as the holding down force. They are used to annihilate the charging enemy or to check in advance. They are deployed wherever the battle line are most vulnerable, and they face down the worst possible O's, and they just hold their ground. These are the chaps who make it possible for the Vanguard veterans to jump around smashing everything while they hold down the line with devastating bolter fire. These guys are marksmen incarnate. Like a normal space marine almost never misses. These guys do not miss. They are built different, and thus they are often used as extermination squads. If a particular enemy unit needs to be gunned down from range, these are your boys. You have that nasty Tyranid thing that absolutely devours space marines in melee? Sure, here's about 1,000 rounds worth of bolt gun. I'll take it down, pretty simple. These guys are masters of ranged warfare. Whatever they do, however they do it, they can hit the broadside of a barn 10,000 meters up in space. Like, think about the most sniperiest sniper ever to ever snipe. These guys right here. And they do mirror their Vanguard veteran counterparts. However, whereas the Vanguard veterans jump around, killing the enemy from enemy to enemy, going deeper and deeper into enemy lines, the Sternguard veteran space marines prefer to move within their own lines, putting out fires, destroying the enemy at a range, eliminating one high priority target from another, moving. Together they work in tandem with their brothers, and together they're able to combine, with one hand going towards the enemy's throat, strangling the life out of it, while the other hand stays the enemy's blade, destroying it in an instant. A truly devastating force. Not to mention, that's cool though. The idea of one space marine unit just laying down bolts of fire while the other goes in and smashes you in the face with a thunderhammer. Oh, quality. Sheer quality. How exactly do these chaps blow apart the enemy?
I'd like to keep this handy for close encounters.
The Sternguard veterans are armed to the teeth with all manners of ranged weaponry. The two, however, fave being either master-crafted bolt guns or combi bolters, depending on the preference of said space marine. And they are also known to have access to master-crafted modified scopes as well, making them into a kind of wheeled bolt rifle hybrid before the bolt rifle was the thing. They can also have access to heavier weapons that are used specifically for infantry eradication and tank hunting roles, or whatever thing you need, really. You need a giant missile launcher? You can get a giant missile launcher. But what's most notable about them is they get access, much like the Death Watch, to specialist bolt ammunition. Now these bolt shells are the cream of the cream. They take years to produce by a master rod artificer. When you pull a trigger on a gun, that shell's gone. And throwing away years of work with 1 second of a trigger pull, yeah, you're gonna make sure that that shit needs to hit. And who better to give these to than the literal veterans of super elite super soldiers? Not to mention the good old chap Malam Kaido. Yes, he is a Vanguard veteran space marine, and he's bloody cool. So, unlike their Vanguard veteran counterparts, Sternguard do not get access to jump packs, but they can be deployed in a Rhino or, most notably, by a drop pod. A common tactic in which they use is that they just mount up with a type of combi weapon, usually a flamer if they're expecting to deal with infantry, or a melter if they're expecting to deal with armor or heavy infantry. Drop down into the drop pod, pop open, and just spray and pray, baby. And let me tell you what, there's nothing more devastating than 1, having a giant drop pod land on your head, and 2, having Sternguard veterans pop out and just spray you to death with all manners of glorious holy vengeance. They can also be carried in the Rhino, APC, or the Razorback, which is the IFV version of the Rhino. Basically a Rhino with a big gun. They are armed with master-crafted Artificer power armor, and they are armed with a master-crafted bolter and a master-crafted bolt pistol. In addition, they are armed with frag and crack grenades, and they can take a close-quarter combat weapon. Again, chainsword is one, but it could be a power weapon, lightning claw, plasma pistol, or power fist. Though most of them tend to stick with a combat knife or just a simple sword on the side. It is what it is, these are the shooty flavors. But they're also a space marine, and can still turn you into pulp. They are most known for their combi weapons, however. A combi weapon being a bolter with an underslung weapon at the bottom. This is either a melter, a flamer, or plasma. Though Grav as well as Volkite have been known to exist, though they are more reserved for the more elite chapters. They can also take a storm bolter, which is like a combi bolter but with another bolter. Basically a bolt SMG. You need rate of fire? This is your chap. Again, melter bombs like the Vanguard veteran counterparts. Flamethrowers if you need to purge heretics in all types of fire. Shout out to my salamander boys. God bless you. The melter gun if you need to kill someone with microwave radiation. Shout out again to my salamander boys. Multi-melter for even more death. Shout out to my salamander boys. I'm a Sally's fan. What did you expect? For those who don't know, melter is a microwave radiation gun. It uses the radiation to form this spear of pure energy that just annihilates armor. They can also have a missile launcher. They can be armed with frag or crack missiles if they need to take out anti-air, or they just want a little bit more firepower. Plasma gun, who doesn't like plasma unless you overcharge it and roll that one? Pain. Plasma cannon, which is again a heavy version of the plasma gun. Heavy flamer, a las cannon. Las cannon, for those who don't know, is essentially a giant las gun that is used for anti-armor rolls that Space Marine can carry in two hands, because, well, they're just poggers. And who could forget but the glorious heavy bolter. The heavy bolter is a larger version of the bolt gun, the standard bolt gun being a .75 caliber, the heavy bolter being a .98 caliber. Big gun, go big boom, and it's fully automatic. God damn, that's good. But as I said, what they are most known for are the mastercrafted bolters as well as the combi weapons, but more specifically, the special issue ammunition. These are elite ammunition that are used by the Space Marine veterans as well as the Death Watch to combat all types of nonsense. We have Dragonfire bolts. Dragonfire bolts are hollow. These are hollowed out bone shells that have a special type of flammable superheated gas. And you guessed it, when it hits into contact, that gas is then exploded, and lo and behold, you have Flamethrower the bolt gun. Fan favorite of the salamanders, of course. Then we have Hellfire bolt rounds. Now, these are interesting in that the core and the tips are replaced with a vial of mutagenic acid, as well as thousands of needles that are coated in said acid. So imagine if a bolt gun took a shotgun, as well as acid, put it together, acid shotgun, Hellfire rounds. These work as the needles pierce the victim's flesh, they then inject them with said mutagenic corrosive acid. So, yeah, very good against Tyranids, and oof, that's just fucking nasty, man. Kraken Penetrator bolt rounds. Kraken Penetrator rounds are heavy-duty armor-piercing shells. Now, normally, Space Marine shells have a depleted uranium core. Not this, though. This just takes a giant, solid piece of antimantine and just sticks it in there. It's like a giant stake of metal, just like bang, dead. As you can imagine, very effective against heavily armored infantry. And then finally, we have Vengeance rounds. Now, these are interesting that they are used by an unstable flux core technology. So what does that mean? Basically, when you hit them, mini black hole, just crunch. And there's even a little bit of lore here. Now this isn't confirmed, but it's alleged that each single Vengeance round is due to have the shard of a fallen Battle Brothers armor emplaced in it. Why? Because they are said to be very effective against Chaos Space Marines, as the Grav Flux technology is very similar to the Grav Gun technology, if not exactly the same in some circumstances. The Grav Gun uses that person's mass against them, so the bigger, chunkier you are, the more damage it does. You put that into a bolt round with a little piece of your buddy and say fuck you to that Traitor Legion dude. Vengeance rounds, baby. Now, time for a wrap up.
In conclusion,
as we can see, the Sternguard veteran are the left hand to the right hand of the Vanguard veterans. Get your sword in one hand, get your gun in the other. My personal favorite, because one, the drip is just really cool, but I love the idea of this line of infantry just moving forward, annihilating everything in this slow, trudging advance. Not to mention, they are a little bit more versatile, because they do have access to some melee weapons, and they have access to heavy weapons in particular, notably the heavy bolter as well as the melter gun, meaning they can be devastating to both infantry and armor. But don't get me wrong, they wouldn't be anything without their Vanguard brothers, just as the Vanguard brothers wouldn't be anything without them. It's a left and right hand, and while one hand may do the job well, having two of them will get it done twice as quick and twice as effective. Also, Malum Kaido. For those of you who don't know, I only realized this. Space Marine bolt gun is very lore accurate, but it's one of those things where like, oh yeah, he kills like 6 lords of change, and I was like, okay, well that's not really lore accurate, what is it? And then it hit me. He's a named Ultramarine character.
I cast fist!
They're fucking taking the piss out of it because he's a named Ultramarine character, and they're using that as the lore justification as to why he can fuck shit up like that. It's beautiful. Go and buy Bolt Gun, play Bolt Gun, it's a great game. But on that lovely bit of lore, that, ladies and gentlemen, has been Sternguard Veterans. Link, as always, in the top right-hand corner. Check out the Vanguard Veteran Space Marines. And if you want to know even more about the different types of bolters and bolt guns that these chaps have at you, I will also link that in the comments below and as well as in the description. As I mentioned before, join the Discord, join the Patreon, all that lovely nonsense. You get access to behind-the-scenes nonsense as well as special roles in the Discord, and at a certain tier and above, you get access to my voice. If you like the way I say things, you like me to do some voice acting, by all means, go on over to the Patreon and I will gladly voice act for you there for a limited amount of time, going from 1 minute all the way up to 10, depending on what tier, but only if you can afford it. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not worry about me, your boy is okay. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that lovely nonsense, and I will catch y'all next time. Dismiss, Rangers! Shaman? The fuck?